All right, I'm re-recording again, and it's annoying. It just happens every time. I get something wrong. I look back to the video and I try to get it correct, and I re-record. So hopefully this time I tell you the right message instead of just making stuff up. Right. So what I've done here is continuing from last 2 days ago. Um, the tutorial from 2 days ago, which was on polymorphism. And that was basically saying using the same function and getting different results. So we could do that. We could visually show that one more time. If I just fix this really quick. And everything looks pretty good. Yes. Right. So let's go back to bottom of the program and notice how we call two functions that have the same name, but as a result, we got different results. Get it? Different results. And this is because we're using the virtual function and we're using polymorphism. And that's basically saying using the same function but getting different results. And we did that by making, well, we didn't have to do it this way, but we did it to make it easier for us by making the object of enemy equal to the memory address of the object of ninja and the object of monster. So now basically the enemy object is equivalent to these two. So that's a way of thinking. And now, when we call the attack function from enemy 1 and enemy 2, it's more like using the um, ninja object or the monster object to call attack or attack. And since they have different function, actual functions, the result is different, right? Okay. Now that's polymorphism, and today we're going through pure virtual function. We have learned what a virtual function is last week, and you're basically seeing why right now. What virtual function does is allowing the functions, this one, to be overridden by other more recently created functions. If you look closely, this one is also called attack, but so are these two, right? So logically, when you call attack function, shouldn't the program run this instead of these? But what virtual function does is allowing this to be overridden by new functions. And it also has another feature when we take the entire function out of public and the program still runs. We see that now the program, instead of running nothing, it goes back up here and runs what we have originally set up, which was printing out yo. And that's because not only does the virtual function allow the program, the function to be overwritten, it also allows you to not enter a new function, and this function would just replace which is wrong itself. So in a sense, um, this will be useful for creating something that has a few, say you have the same answers or the stuff that come up for many objects, but you have, once every time you have different answers for some questions. So this could be useful for answering, generic, like frequently occur. Oh, that was hard. That's hard to explain. But without further ado, let's get to pure virtual function. And this is really easy, super easy. Could have explain it in less than 2 minutes, and you could have learned it in less than 2 minutes. What virtual function is, and the difference between it and the pure function, virtual function, is that the pure virtual function doesn't have a function. So this is a pure virtual function now. It has less components than the virtual function we have just created. As you can see, I took out all the functions below it, and instead of typing anything in the curly brackets, I got rid of the whole thing. And after the round brackets, I just type equal to 0. And now, as you can see, the program doesn't properly run because now we don't have a function for the monster class. And now you say, well, didn't you just tell me that the whole point of virtual function is allowing that to be overridden? Well, that's right, because um, since this doesn't do anything, it requires a new function, a recently created function, to override this function that basically doesn't do anything. So this is one difference. Remember, a virtual function, you can override it, and if you don't, the program will just run the default setting. That's the way to think of it, the default setting. But a pure virtual function, you have to create a new function, otherwise the program won't properly run. So the way to fix this is simply to make attack function do something. So, right, and we will make it print out monster and line. And now everything looks pretty good, except for never mind. Everything looks pretty good. So now the program runs that line and that line. Okay, and virtual and pure virtual, very similar. Pure virtual is pretty easy to remember, but they both have virtual before void, or whatever type it is. So this is pretty fun stuff, and we will see you in another video.